This is iFIBER 1 News. Here are today's top stories.
A hearing to re-sentence school shooter Barry Lukaitis was pushed back to April. A Moses Lake woman was sentenced to more than 2 years in prison for hitting a 9-year-old boy with her SUV. A storm ripped through southern Washington over the weekend, leaving behind a huge mess for many residents.
From the iFIBER 1 newsroom, this is iFIBER 1 News, and it starts now.
A hearing to re-sentence school shooter Barry Lukaitis was pushed back to April. Kittitas County Superior Court Judge Michael Cooper agreed to continue the hearing at the request of Lukaitis' defense. A mitigation and sentencing hearing were scheduled for October 27th and 28th. Defense attorney Brett Hill asked attorney Michelle Shaw to assist in the case in August, and Shaw requested the continuance to allow time for a mental health expert to evaluate the now 35-year-old Lukaitis. Spokane County Deputy Prosecutor Kelly Fitzgerald told the judge prosecutors would also need time to review the findings from the mental health expert. Cooper set the hearing dates for April 19th, 20th, and 21st. Fitzgerald said she talked with a number of families and victims involved in the 1996 shooting planning to attend the sentencing hearing, and she wanted to ensure there was some predictability with the hearing dates chosen. Lukaitis was 14 in 1996 when he shot and killed 3 people at Frontier Middle School in Moses Lake. He was sentenced to 2 life sentences without the possibility of parole and an additional 209 years. The situation changed in 2012 when the U.S. Supreme Court ruled mandatory life sentences without the possibility of parole for children younger than 18 violates the 8th Amendment. The state legislature followed the decision with a change in the state law allowing children convicted of aggravated murder in the first degree to be eligible for parole after 25 years. This is Joe Utter for iFIBER 1 News. A Moses Lake woman was sentenced to more than 2 years in prison for hitting a 9-year-old boy with her SUV. 49-year-old Suzette Brown pleaded guilty in Grant County Superior Court to hit and run, DUI, possession of a controlled substance, and theft in the 3rd degree. The charges stem from 2 criminal cases that were combined as part of a plea agreement. Judge David Estudillo followed the attorney's recommendation and sentenced Brown to 25 months in prison. Brown hit the 9-year-old boy as he was walking with his bike across South Grand Drive in June on the last day of school. Witnesses reported she didn't stop after hitting the child. Police learned Brown's identity after discovering a license plate left at the scene. The boy was taken to a Spokane hospital and treated for a head injury. Brown told officers she used methamphetamine at 2 a.m. the day of the collision. Roughly 3 months before the collision, Brown stole $150 and hydrocodone from a purse the victim left in his shopping cart. This is Joe Utter for iFIBER 1 News.
You always have the threat.
Walt Geer was home alone Saturday afternoon when the winds really started picking up in Vancouver.
So I hurried down to the basement and was sitting down there watching television.
Then he heard it.
It was kind of a crashing, cracking sound.
He walked up the stairs to find this, the top of a maple tree pierced through his roof and kitchen ceiling. From above, you can see it sticking up like a javelin.
It was this trunk right here.
So I asked, what was the first thing that went through his mind when he saw it?
Call my son.
His son came to cut the log into pieces and take it out of the roof. The remnant logs are scattered around the backyard. But now Geer and his wife are left with this gaping hole in their kitchen, which started leaking when we arrived.
Oh, it wasn't dripping before.
But after calling this place home for 40 years, the Geers know things like this can happen in the Pacific Northwest.
We have several large maple trees, and there's always the possibility that something like this might happen.
It sounded like lightning.
On the other side of Vancouver, this tree split in half.
So it was like a... shook the whole house and it just sat still. Yeah.
A large branch leaning on the house where it will remain overnight.
The weight of that on there, we're going to leave it to the professionals.
It's a pleasant fall week here in the Basin. Hi, Jeff Slakey taking a look at the forecast from the iFIBER 1 Weather Center. Cloudy skies to start us off and 61 for your Monday. Maybe see some sunshine for Tuesday and Wednesday with the highs near 60 degrees. Thursday, slight chance of rain early in the day. But other than that, mostly cloudy skies into the weekend. This report brought to you by Barry Motors.
This is iFiber One News. For more information on these stories and other news, visit us online at iFiber1.com or check us out on Facebook.